Listing entry in addition, continued, financial and legal, listing entry tab. This might be one of the most important tabs, the most complicated tabs, but still fairly easy. The asking price, simply type in the numbers. So if this property is 1,250,000, just type it as that. In this case, the condominium is actually $465,000. Everything is in US dollars. The construction value can be interesting for future CMA tools, if you know it. If you have remodeled, that can also, how much value was the remodel? That can help tremendously for comparative market analysis. Seller agent is not required. This is what the owner is paying you as the seller agent for representing him. What is important and what you are committed to by the Code of Ethics of the Camera is the buyer agent commission. That means a commission percentage of the total selling price that you're willing to offer to any cooperating agent that brings you an able and willing buyer. So for example, the seller pays you a 7% sales commission. Since you do the majority of the marketing, you maybe want to say, okay, I reserve 4% for myself, and I offer anybody bringing me a buyer 3%. Or you might say you share it 50-50, so it's 3.5 and 3.5. Please enter it in decimals with a period. So you could even be like, oh, I'm going to pay 3.3 all the way to 3.67% of the total sales price. Oftentimes it can be very interesting for people, for buyers searching for properties that have financing available. So if yes, you want to know a little bit about the financing. Please describe. Is it owner financing? How? 20% down, or 20% down to 40% down, depending on interest rates, depending on what the owner is willing to finance. Or if you know that there's some projects are pre-approved by certain banks, you can also describe what the institutional financing is. In this case, actually there is no financing available, so none of this applies. Taxes might be interested. What are the real estate taxes that applicable for this property? But this is not required. Liens, this is part of our verification process. If there's any liens, such as lawsuits or hypothecas or so forth, that make it a non-marketable title. So please be as open and detailed about this as you can, describing it in the liens comments field. In this case, there are no known liens. That's for click unknown. Insurance is not required. If sometimes, depending on financing, certain insurance might be required, but in this case, there's none. The association fees can be very interesting, especially with condominium fees. And we want you to make it simple, even if you know, okay, they're bi-weekly or monthly, please add them up what they would be on an annual basis. So let's say this condominium, you have to pay $200 monthly association fee. That would come out to $2,400 on an annual basis. Here, the most important thing is here, that's annual. Or you could also add 200 monthly. Either way you prefer. For Real, that's the most important thing. In this case, the condominium is in Guanacaste. So that would be 5 would represent Guanacaste. Then a 6-digit identification number, for Real number. Then an F for condominium and the derechos. Please make sure to have the F in capital letters. A lot of properties are sometimes include multiple derechos, which means 001 or 002, or sometimes a big parcel of land that is aggregated of multiple properties that were purchased one by one and now sold as a complete package. You can simply comma separate and enter the next full real. In this case, there's only one. Ownership type. Usually it's title, but then it could be held in a personal name by an individual or by a company like a limitada or an SA. So it would be fee simple legal entity. Sometimes it might be also bank owned because it was foreclosed upon. Or in a lot of developments, people buy a percentage of a company. So let's say there's 10 properties in a development and you're really buying 10% of that company. That would be a fractional sale. For properties that are pre-titled, for example, that are still under construction, pre-construction deals, there's different types associated with this. And depending on which development process the development is in, it will attain a different description, risk description. So these are the main steps that are involved. So if that's the case, or that's the case, or you already attained a cadastral owner, or you'd already gotten all the way to a Setena approval. If you get D1 Setena approval, this Setena resolution will pop up and we will require you to upload this Setena up to it. In this case, we do not have pre-titled, so it's fee simple and legal entity. Any type of financial information that you can give can be helpful. This is information that will be shared with other agents, other CCBR members of the system. After you're done here, you're pretty much ready to add the property, which would create the listing, or you can go to the next tab, review your information, if you like all the agent information. Maybe on certain properties that are really dear to your heart, you want them to call you directly on your personal cell phone or on your home phone, and you don't want them to go to your office. However you choose, you can overwrite this information however you choose. The owner information can be very helpful for future CRM tools to kind of know, keep track of and records of your owner and which properties belong to which owners. Maybe internal notes saying, please, the guy's very grumpy in the morning, please don't do showings before 12 o'clock. Or the dog bites, watch, be aware. After you've entered all this, which is optional, you can then proceed to simply clicking add, and it will generate you the listing. If you have, for whatever reasons, not entered certain fields, the system will let you know which fields are either missing information or are not entered in the correct format. As we see right here, we just jump directly to financial and legal. So the information under the Basics tab, Geography tab, Details tab, and Infrastructure tab that are required were not filled out. So please correct the indicated errors and then proceed to Agregar, which will bring us to our next tutorial, how to add and manage pictures. Thank you.